Ever wrestled with the idea of forgiveness? It's a tough one.
It really is.
But today, we're diving deep into what it really means to forgive.
Ooh, I like that.
And trust me, it might not be what you think.
I bet.
Our source material this time is this podcast episode.
Okay.
It's called, Will I Be Able to Forgive Him? The Courage Behind True Forgiveness.
Interesting.
And it really got me thinking about,
Yeah.
like what forgiveness is really all about.
I bet you.
So we'll unpack some of the insights about the power of forgiveness.
Okay.
We'll tackle those common myths we all hear about.
Okay.
And hopefully you'll walk away with a fresh perspective
I hope so.
on the whole idea of letting go.
That's powerful stuff.
So the episode starts off with this woman's story.
Okay.
And she's grappling with whether to forgive her husband, who's been keeping a secret from her.
Mm.
And it's raw. It's emotional. Like her anger and bitterness just jump out at you.
It's hard when you feel betrayed like that.
It really is.
It makes you question everything.
Totally.
Yeah.
And for me, it brought back, times when I felt betrayed.
I think we've all been there at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
It's that feeling of like the rug being pulled out from under you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I found interesting was her immediate resistance to the idea of forgiving him.
That's really common.
Is it?
Yeah, it highlights this belief that forgiving someone equals weakness.
Oh, for sure. It's like we're told to stand up for ourselves.
Right. Don't be a pushover.
But then forgiveness comes along,
yeah,
and it seems to contradict all that.
it's a tricky balance.
So how do we reconcile these two ideas?
Right. Is it actually weak to forgive?
Yeah.
Well, the source material tackles this head on.
Okay, good.
It uses this really interesting analogy comparing forgiveness to economic principles.
Wait, hold on. Economics and forgiveness.
It sounds strange,
It's...
but it's really clever.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Think about it this way. We've got this concept of scarcity, right? The rarer something is, the more valuable it becomes.
Okay, yeah.
Now, apply that to forgiveness. We see anger, resentment, grudges. It's almost like a default mode.
It's easy to get stuck in those negative emotions.
It is, but genuine forgiveness, truly letting go, that's much rarer.
So because it's a harder choice, it actually becomes more valuable.
Exactly. Choosing to forgive when every fiber of your being wants to hold on to that anger, that takes real strength.
I see what you mean. It's like that quote from Proverbs.
Oh, which one?
A wise man is slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook an offense.
I love that quote. Me too.
It's like choosing to rise above that initial anger is where true wisdom lies.
And strength.
Right.
Yeah.
And going back to that woman in the story,
Yeah.
imagine if she could find a way to forgive, not because it's easy,
Right.
but because she recognizes the power in that choice.
It would be a different kind of strength than holding on to her anger, wouldn't it?
Definitely. And this is where the deep dive gets really interesting.
Oh.
It shifts from forgiveness as a weakness to forgiveness as this incredible source of inner strength.
Okay.
And get this,
What?
even freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah, tell me more about that. How does forgiveness equal freedom?
Well, think about what happens when we hold on to anger and resentment. It's like we're letting those negative emotions control us.
They consume us,
They do. They take up space in our minds and our hearts.
weigh us down.
Exactly. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is like releasing that burden.
This is about breaking free from those chains.
Yes. Choosing to let go of the things that are holding you back from truly living.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal of this whole forgiveness as freedom idea.
It's powerful stuff.
It is, but how do we actually get there? Like, letting go is easier said than done.
You're telling me.
Right. So how do we make it happen?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the source material doesn't shy away from that challenge. It dives into the practical side of things, too.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Let's get practical.
Yes.
I like it.
Me too.
Let's do it. One of the things it emphasizes is that forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was okay. It's not about condoning the action, but it's about making a conscious choice
Okay.
to release those negative emotions.
Those negative emotions that are holding you captive.
Exactly.
So it's more about shifting your own perspective
Right.
than about the other person.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that continuing to hold on to that anger is often hurting you
More than the person who wronged you.
more than the person who wronged you.
Wow.
It keeps you trapped in that cycle of negativity,
Yeah.
preventing you from moving on and experiencing genuine inner peace.
That's a really powerful way to think about it. It almost makes forgiveness sound like a form of self-care.
I love that perspective.
Right.
It really is about prioritizing your own well-being
Yeah.
and choosing to free yourself from that burden of anger and resentment.
I like that a lot. And the source material, it gets even more practical.
Oh, does it?
It does. It offers some concrete steps on how to actually cultivate forgiveness.
Nice.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
I know, right?
This is where I think a lot of people get stuck.
Oh, yeah.
We hear all this talk about forgiveness,
Yeah.
but how do we actually do it?
I agree.
Give me the steps.
Okay, so the first step might sound counterintuitive,
Okay.
but you have to acknowledge the hurt,
Okay.
allow yourself to fully feel that anger,
Mm-hmm.
the betrayal, the sadness,
Yeah.
whatever emotions come up.
Okay.
Don't try to suppress them.
Don't push them down.
Don't pretend they don't exist.
So we need to actually sit with those uncomfortable feelings.
Yes, exactly. It's like if you have a deep wound, you can't just slap a bandage on it
Right.
and expect it to heal.
You got to clean it out.
You need to clean it.
Yeah.
Address the source of the pain.
Address the root cause.
Forgiveness is similar.
So trying to force it before acknowledging the hurt won't lead to genuine healing.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So once we've acknowledged the hurt, what's next?
This is where the conscious choice comes in.
Okay.
You have to actively decide to let go of the anger and resentment.
You're saying it's a decision?
It's a decision, not a feeling.
Interesting.
And it's a decision you might have to make over and over again.
Yeah, probably as those feelings resurface.
Yes, exactly.
That sounds like a challenging process.
It can be, for sure.
Especially the hurt is really deep.
Absolutely.
Mm.
But remember, forgiveness is primarily for you.
For me.
It's about reclaiming your own inner peace, freeing yourself from that burden of those negative emotions.
So even if the other person never apologizes or acknowledges what they did,
Yeah,
you could still choose to forgive for your own well-being.
absolutely. Forgiveness isn't about condoning their actions or letting them off the hook.
Right.
It's about empowering yourself to heal and move forward.
So it's about unlocking those chains that have been binding you to the past.
Exactly.
This whole idea of forgiveness as a form of self-empowerment is really resonating with me.
Yeah, it's not about weakness.
Or ignoring wrongdoing.
No, it's about taking control of your own emotional well-being. It raises an interesting question, though.
Oh.
What if holding on to anger and resentment is actually preventing us from experiencing true strength and freedom?
Ooh, that's a really thought-provoking question.
Yeah.
I'm already starting to see forgiveness in a whole new light.
It's amazing how exploring a single story and delving into these concepts
It
can
is.
shift our perspective so profoundly.
It's crazy, right?
It really is.
I have to agree with you. This deep dive is definitely making me rethink some of my assumptions about forgiveness.
Yeah, it really is crazy.
It is, right?
It highlights the idea that forgiveness is an act of courage, not weakness.
Totally. And it's funny how we often associate courage with those big outward actions.
Yeah, like standing up to a bully or taking a risk.
Exactly. But choosing to forgive.
Especially when it feels so difficult.
Yeah, that requires a different kind of courage.
A much quieter strength.
Yes, exactly. It's an internal battle, a triumph over your own ego, and that urge to retaliate.
Right, that urge to hold on to bitterness.
It's not easy.
And like we talked about earlier, it's a journey, not a destination.
It's not a one-time decision, but this ongoing process of choosing to let go again and again.
And some days are harder than others.
Oh, absolutely.
But the key is to just continually recommit to that choice.
Reaffirm that dedication to your own peace.
Exactly.
I'm kind of curious, thinking back to that woman's story
Yeah.
in the podcast episode, do we know if she was ultimately able to forgive her husband?
That's interesting that you bring that up.
Yeah.
The episode actually doesn't give us a resolution to her story.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a really powerful reminder that forgiveness is this deeply personal journey. There's no set timeline or guaranteed outcome.
Right. Everyone's different.
It unfolds differently for everyone.
It takes the pressure off, doesn't it?
I think so.
It's not about reaching some kind of forgiveness finish line.
Right.
It's about the process.
Yeah.
The intention.
The commitment to your own well-being.
Exactly. And it invites us as listeners to reflect on our own experiences with forgiveness.
Right. Where are we holding on to anger?
What might it look like to start letting go?
Even in small ways.
Yeah. This whole deep dive has been such an eye-opener for me.
I'm glad to hear that.
It has.
Yeah.
It's made me question some of my own ideas about forgiveness.
Yeah.
Consider its true power.
In your own life.
Yeah, my own life.
It reminds us that forgiveness isn't a sign of weakness.
No.
It's a testament to our inner strength.
Our resilience?
and ultimately our capacity for love.
I love that.
Yeah.
So to wrap things up, it seems like the biggest takeaway here is that forgiveness is a journey.
Hmm.
It's a sign of true strength
Yeah.
and ultimately an act of self-love rather than weakness.
Beautifully put. And if this deep dive has resonated with you,
Yeah.
if there's someone or something you need to forgive,
Mm.
I want to leave you with this question.
Okay.
Could holding on to anger be harming you more than the person who wronged you?
Ooh, that's a powerful question for all of us to consider. It really underscores that forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves.
Yes.
A pathway to inner peace and freedom.
Until next time, keep diving deep
Keep questioning,
and keep choosing that path of forgiveness.
because it is in letting go that we truly find freedom.
I love that.
And that's a wrap on our exploration of forgiveness. Thanks for joining us on You